What it do, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the BJJ GOONS podcast. I'm your host, Tim, aka Number One Stunner, aka Grips of the North Star, aka Jits Tape, aka Mr. I Heel Hook White Belts in the Gi because I train for the streets, aka Mushmaster, aka King of the BJJ Deathmatch, aka the Trainwreck God, aka Trillmonger, aka the Best Bout Machine, aka Fuck Your Rankings, I Want All the Smoke, aka the Elker Strangler, aka the Underground King, aka Blast Double Poppy, aka Musha T. And sitting to my right is the founder of White Belt Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
What's up, everybody?
Tony Piranio. What it do, man? Welcome back.
Yeah. Here we are.
Welcome back, everyone.
Back again.
I've been real busy putting in work, preparing for Pan Ams, preparing for these seminars that I'm going out on tour for.
I saw that. Got a couple of them, huh?
Yeah, I'm going to West Virginia, Hurricane, West Virginia, this weekend at Sans Ego BJJ. So everyone in the West Virginia area, up in the mountains, make sure you holler at the Mushmaster. Go to Sans Ego's Facebook and Instagram page. Go to sansego@gmail.com so you can book yourself a spot because spots are limited for the seminar. It's going to be a huge hit. I want to make sure everyone can get in there and everyone can learn from me. I'm going to be teaching a lot of flying guillotines, a lot of train wrecking. It's the high flying train wrecking seminar in Hurricane, West Virginia. It's been busy, man. I've been grinding. I might have a super fight lined up.
Nice.
The match I want is on the horizon. I'm going to fight the winner, potentially, fingers crossed, knock on wood, of Tractor versus Canon Duarte.
There you go.
That's a big fight. I want to take on the best of the best, defend this belt. And that's the best way to do it, is going against the best. We got a ADCC finalist in Tractor. Really good. He's beaten a lot of top names. And Canon Duarte, who has a lot of stolen valor he's walking around with. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't know, the guy, Canon Duarte, the man known as Thanos, got busted.
Yeah, he sure did.
Got busted. Cold. Red-handed, man. With Osterine in the system.
Osterine. Everybody's Osterine these days.
Everyone is Osterine.
You could buy it right on Amazon, I think.
No, Google that shit. Go on Amazon right now. Let's see if we can get some Osterine.
Yeah, it's not even illegal.
It's not even illegal. So here's the thing that I don't get is, like, these guys, they get busted all the time and they make excuses like, I didn't know. I'm going to read off his excuse because that shit is nuts. He might have blocked me, though, because listeners of the show, you may know that I've been calling Canon Duarte out for getting popped for ages now. And I want to see what he said. I'm very curious.
If you got $55, you're walking away with some Osterine right here.
All right. He's pulling up. Wait a minute. All right, so how
Not
much?
Not even illegal.
How much for a cycle?
I don't even know if that's what you do with it. Canada, science.
Oh, somebody told me you don't really cycle off of that stuff, off Osterine.
It's probably just like
you just take it all the time.
Supplement.
I know old people take it when they're losing muscle. I know guys take it to keep on muscle, like hard muscle, while they're cutting weight, which explains why he looked like Goku at Worlds. So this is what Kaynan said. He said, after fully investigating my case, USADA agreed that my positive test was for trace amounts of the banned substance Osterine, and that it was not the result of intentional use. First and foremost,
that's what everybody says.
I'm calling bullshit on that. How do you not know something like that is in your system?
Yeah, and you look at your body like, wow, this is really changing.
Like, you just wake up one day and you look like Goku.
It's actually not legal.
It's not legal in the States.
Yeah, I just found. Yeah.
So it's not legal in the States, and somehow he finds it in a supplement.
Must have been a Canadian website.
It is for that reason that USADA agreed to reduce my sanction from 4 years to 1 year. Before I was notified of my positive test, I did not even know what Osterine was. I have always taken special care to only use safe supplements. Unfortunately, despite being careful, I was still exposed to trace amounts of ostarine in the months leading up to the World Championships. Okay, so if you guys go on his Instagram, you look at pictures when he was younger and looking now, I think it's bullshit, man. It's an insult to my intelligence, and it's an insult to the jiu-jitsu community's intelligence that this guy did not know what he was taking. You don't just get results looking like that out of nowhere. Look at pictures of him when he was younger and look at him now. I'm willing to bet that I am one of a handful of elite jiu-jitsu and grappling competitors that doesn't take performance-enhancing drugs. It's rampant. It's out of control. It's always been the dirty little secret of this sport. And although USADA has decided to finally step up and test more often with the addition of Nogi Worlds, it's a joke that he only got a year.
Yeah.
If you look at his matches at Worlds, more specifically the finals match for Leandro Lo, he's scrambling for minutes on end. And when you grapple, of course, you're going to have bursts anywhere from, I'd say, 5 seconds to a couple minutes. But this man was going hard the entire time, not tired. And Leandro Lo, who has a gas tank that's historic, looked gassed and beat down and weathered. And it just shows that the guy was definitely taking something. The man is balding. He has a Lego head. I mean, his jaw is like 40% of his skull. I mean, it's so obvious that he's taking this shit. And, you know, when I take supplements, I always make sure, and I ask the guys that know, like, what's in this, because I have to test. I got USADA testing, and they'll let you know. And you know what pisses me off is that when you go to these supplement places, even over-the-counter spots, they know what they're giving you. They'll tell you straight up, like, man, this is kind of borderline. I know a little bit about this testing. Now, give me a damn break, man. He probably goes to that powerhouse gym, whatever gym that all those guys go to, and they probably got their shit from there. I mean, of course, this is all speculation. I don't know the whole backstory. But where there's smoke, there's fire. It just so happens that Atos gets busted again. And if you look at the guys on the team, they all look like the Ninja Turtles. They look like street sharks. Like, they got big-ass backs. And, like, they just look like mutants. So I'm not surprised. I think they should do random testing. I remember when USADA first came into jiu-jitsu, they were talking about doing random testing, like showing up to a school. They should test randomly at PANS. They should test all the time. But they should test for drugs that are performance enhancing. So all the guys that like to party, I get it. You like to do your little drugs or whatever. You like to smoke a little weed. I understand that. I don't consider that performance enhancing. But when you're taking shit like ostarine that's not even legal in this country, you should be banned for way longer than a year. His suspension goes up on June 2nd. So basically the day of the last day of Worlds, or maybe the day after, he gets off. So really he doesn't pay a penalty. He still gets to keep all the prize money that he won. And people are going to defend him. And if you're one of these lowlifes that doesn't compete and just says, oh, it's no big deal, fuck you. If you're listening to this and you think the shit is okay, fuck you. Turn off this podcast. Don't listen to my shit anymore, because you're part of the problem. It makes me disgusted. You know, these guys, you know, it's already a hard sport as it is, and it's hard enough for people that don't cheat. But then when guys get busted for cheating, there's no penalty, really. They're not, these people aren't shunned. They don't really suffer a consequence. They don't, you know what they really need to get these people for? They need to hit them in their damn pockets. Okay, this guy has all this notoriety, he gets all these sponsors, he gets all these wins, and he gets all this fucking prize money, but it's tainted. It's fucking cheating. And this is coming from somebody that knows people that do cheat, and I know people that don't cheat. I know guys that have taken stuff, I know people that haven't. And I just ask, I always get information, and it is an unfair advantage. I'm going to give you an example, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't take performance-enhancing drugs. I barely take supplements. For me to train hard 2 times a day is a huge undertaking. We're not even taking into account the travel, and we're not even taking into account like the lack of sleep that you're going to get. Because let's say we have a practice in Camp Springs, and I got to drive to there. So that means I got to wake up earlier. I have to go travel, which is like going to a regular job. And before anybody says anything about, oh, it's no big deal, it's just travel. People with regular jobs, that commute breaks them down. So we're commuting, we're training hard, giving everything we got. But the human body has to recover. It's only natural. You're not going to progress physically if you do not rest. So I get up again, I go to my other practice, and I train super hard. That's a 2 a day for you, right? As we get older, or as the training ratchets up, you're not going to be able to push that hard without significant break or timing your breaks and making it a part of your training. When these guys take this shit, they don't have to rest as much. Combat sports, like other sports, it's a game of inches. It's a game of time put in, analysis, practice, repetitions. If you don't have to rest as much, and it's an unnatural amount of lack of rest that you need, that's a huge advantage. It's unfucking fair. It helps you get bigger, stronger, faster. Yes, you do have to train. Some lazy fuck that decides to get on Ostarine, he's not going to get any kind of advantage. But a regular Joe Schmo guy that's training hard compared to a guy that's on the juice training hard, that's going to make a difference. I'm not saying it's impossible, because I've beaten known cheaters, guys that may not have pissed hot but have been caught later on later on down the road, or I know for a fact they're on it just being in the know. It's not impossible, but it's an unfair advantage. It's fucked up. He's still welcomed into the community with open arms. I'm not going to try to cancel him. I'm more than happy to take him on, because in the people's eyes, a lot of them, they don't think he's tainted. They still think he's the best. He's won a lot. And I'm going to take the opportunity, if granted to me, to bust him up.
I don't even think steroids are hardly looked down upon in jiu-jitsu.
I don't think so either.
They damn near might be looked up to.
I think a lot of people
It's
enjoy
crazy.
that. I think people like to see the freak show. You look at the finals of ADCC and the super fight. Look at Andre Galval's physique. I'm a pro wrestling fan. There's very few pro wrestlers with that kind of physique. Let alone being able to do the stuff that he can do on a mat. He's so agile and he's just so big and so strong.
Whenever you have regular people trying to become, athletic and the superstar that they see in front of them on TV and media, you're always going to get performance enhancers involved, because probably the athletes that you're looking up to are on performance enhancers anyway.
It was a tough day when I finally realized how rampant it truly was. It was a tough day, because for the longest time I would look at my physique, but I would look at like my performance, and I'd say, man, how come I'm not getting these kind of results? How come it's not coming to me as easy? Like, what the hell is going on? Why is it that I try to push myself and I have that 3%er mentality where I'm willing to sacrifice everything to be the best I can, push myself to a limit, to the point where it's mental and physical breakdown? But then I see other guys training like that, or you hear about it, or you get firsthand accounts from people that know what the hell they're talking about, and you hear about it, it's like, man, what am I doing wrong? There was a legend about Michael Lang. He would train 4 times a day. And then I'm thinking, I'm slacking. But that one day you find out, oh, all these guys you looked up to, they're on the shit? Oh, it's not me? It was a rough day, man.
Yeah, that's nearly impossible to be able to do. Depends on what kind of training you're doing, but for that, you can't hard train like that.
I'll tell you this, I hard 2 a day, I'm down at least like 12 hours. Like nothing physical. If it ain't like a stretch, or if it's not like I'm going to the spa, or I'm going to take a salt bath, or I'm taking an ice bath, or I'm taking CBD,
You're down for
or
the
taking
count.
a nap, I'm down.
Yep.
Like today, I'm down. Like I'm not doing shit because I've been pushing. And it's a part of rest. And, if you think it's okay to do it, I'll put it to you like this. Maybe you're a sociopath. You think, oh, it's no big deal that I cheated. It's no big deal that I took that much of an advantage over people that weren't cheating. But to me, it wouldn't mean as much, the victories, if I cut corners or if I cheated. If I truly cheated. Now, people that get busted for pre-workout, if that's really what they get busted for, I get it. Like, that's bullshit. You shouldn't get busted. If you get busted for weed, I don't think it's a big deal. But Ostarine? That motherfucker's he was probably glowing.
Yeah, you should just admit it.
Just admit it.
Yeah, just tell
Just
everybody.
admit it. Just
Fuck
say
it.
you're a bitch and you don't want to fight fair. Or whatever.
You just be like, hey, I'm gonna fucking do steroids.
Now here's the thing though. Like baseball, I kind of don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I hear what
Because
you're saying.
Sport. It's not a combat sport. Football, that's cheating like shit. Like football, that's dangerous. Somebody's well-being. Jiu-jitsu, for sure, is hazardous. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's an MMA.
Oh man, it's very prevalent. It's very prevalent. And you know what else I think won't happen in jiu-jitsu too? I don't think that they're going to go back to the record books and really make people feel it. Like, you know how Pete Rose got kicked out of the Hall of Fame? They're not kicking motherfuckers out of the Hall of Fame over this.
Oh, no.
They're not going to do that because it's too close between the competitors and the officials.
Yeah, they don't want to catch people.
I don't think they do.
Because they sure don't catch that many.
Oh, your voice got louder when you switched cameras.
It's your perception.
Yeah, they're not going to go back and change shit in the record books, unfortunately. What do you think is a solution for it? Like, what is your idea to curtail it or make it very difficult for people to cheat?
I mean, more testing, but there's not money for that.
There's not enough, right?
Yeah, well, I'm sure they have enough, but it's a corporation.
If you had to guess, who would be the next guy to piss hot? Who would be the next guy that you see?
Anybody that, you know, I think at high level, probably everybody's on some sort of steroid. Shoot.
Fuck, man. Well, since he's no longer number one, Flo did the right thing for once and took him off their rankings.
Oh, wow.
But it doesn't make a difference. Like, to me, the rankings, it doesn't make a difference. It's symbolic. But they're going to... This is the fans, man. Sometimes the fucking fans, bro. The fucking fans, they fucking kill me. Like, really? Like, you're still riding his dick? Like, if my teammate got busted, I would privately scold him. But I would also publicly be like, yo, we don't do that. Wait, time out. Hold on. Mikey Musumeci's number one in the pound-for-pound rankings?
Looks that way.
What? Hey, man, listen, Muhammad, this is your fault. This is Muhammad's fault. I love you, bro, but I told you before the match. I said, fuck Mikey Musumeci up. I said, don't show him any quarter. Do not take it easy. Go for it. Because now, like, everyone's going to be like, oh, man. Like, you're just going to be that guy on the Summer Jam screen. Even though you won, you made it look like...
You couldn't beat a little guy.
All right. Let's look at these rankings, man. Like, all right. So they got Mikey 1, Marcus Almeida 2, Victor Hugo 3, Nicholas Marigali 4. All right, hear me out here. How is it Buchecha is not number one, first off? But then let's go back by their criteria, all right? Why the fuck was he previously number 4? How is the guy who's in the gi, the second greatest of all time, number 4? Number 4, and now he moves up to number 2 because Nicholas Marigali lost. But then according to your criteria...
And Kaynan is off.
Yeah, and then but according to the criteria, Buchecha jumps over Victor Hugo, even though Buchecha hasn't been active. I'm so confused. And Mikey lost in the Open. So if you're going to put him ranked high, you got to put Muhammad up in the top 10. I just don't get it. And Lucas Apri, rightfully so, Lucas Apri is top 5. But I just don't get it. If you're going to go by what you're saying, then Felipe Andrew needs to be over Lucas Lapri. I just don't get it, man. This is all Muhammad's fault. Muhammad, you could have been top 10 if you just ripped little man's arm off. You want to hear a funny story about the Open?
What's that?
And size differences? There is a grappler called Marcio Andre. All my jiu-jitsu heads should know who Marcio Andre is. He took second at Worlds this year. He is a featherweight. Either feather or light feather. No, featherweight. He is a featherweight. And he decided at purple belt, when I was a purple belt, to do the Open. And guess who he had in the quarterfinals?
Uh-oh.
Me, the Trainwreck OG. And I took my own advice. I did not go easy on him. I end up, and Julius, my coach, Julius Park, who runs Crazy 88 MMA, my first jiu-jitsu coach, he told me like a week ago, like, man, what you did to him was fucked up. Like, you were already winning, but why did you have to go so hard? And to that I say, you can't let people get a opportunity to get into a match. Most definitely a smaller person, because if you give them a little bit of light, a little bit of shine, the fans get involved, everyone gets hyped, and they start rooting against you as the bigger guy. And in the referee's mind, if it's close, they're going to give it to the smaller dude. So we end up, going toe-to-toe a little, and he decides to stay on the feet with me. Big mistake. I hit him with one of the gnarliest train wrecks I can ever remember. Like, I threw him, and I could feel the vibration of his skull hitting the mat in my hands. I have a cross-collar grip in my left hand, and my right hand has a sleeve grip, cat's paw grip, and I could feel the vibration. And, like, I just commenced to just racking up points, and then I don't know if I tapped him out, but it was bad. And I ended up going on to win the Open too. But that's the example you have to set. You can't take it easy on the little guys, because Marshall Andre is good. He made it to the quarters of an open weight in a Grand Slam. At any belt is tough. Mikey Musumeci is good. When he did the Muhammad, they're almost getting to his back. I can barely do that. And I'm almost Muhammad size, kind of. So let that be a lesson to all my young and up-and-coming competitors. We don't take it easy on little guys. It's the Open for a reason. That's kind of why I don't want to do the Open at Grand Slams, because it's before. Ballsy move by Mikey. I applaud him. I think it's a little foolhardy if you're below 225 pounds to do the Open at a Grand Slam if you plan on winning your division. It just takes a lot out of you. One year, I made it to the semis of the Open at Pans at Black Belt. And I was on the podium with Bernardo Faria, Leandro Lowe, and Andre Galvao. That feat in and of itself is one of my greatest feats as a martial artist. So if anyone ever tells me that I'm not worth a damn as a grappler, you can look at the picture of me up there with men that are in the Hall of Fame. And some of them are questionable when it comes to whether or not their piss is clean. And I'm up there with them. But that undertaking got me hurt, and it definitely affected my ability to compete in my weight class. So be careful doing the Open. So let's go back to who's number one. There were a couple major upsets, and I took a little bit of notes on what I noticed, and it adds on to my philosophy as a competitor, and I think you guys would really enjoy it, and I think you would enjoy it too, Tony. So the big one that comes to mind is Victor Hugo beating Nicholas Marigali. That's why Victor Hugo is number 3 on the Flow Grappling pound for pound rankings. Victor Hugo is a fresh black belt, but he's a beast. He's huge. He's kind of slimmed down, but he's been giant like his whole career. And now he got a big win over Cyborg, knee-barred Cyborg, and he beat Nicholas Marigali in his first year as a black belt. Nicholas Marigali is no joke. He's great. He even tapped my crazy ass out. So you know he's a killer. I think what he did smart was he pulled guard initially. And if you pull guard on a guard puller and your guard is good, it totally changes the complexity of the match. I mean, if you're on bottom, you don't have to worry about dealing with this guy's guard. And if you're a guard player, you're primarily used to sweeping.
Right.
And
now you got to worry about passing.
You got to worry about passing. And passing is an art in and of itself. There's a huge war going on between guys that are takedown and passing and guys that are guard pullers. They both deserve their equal amount of respect. But I think the art of not getting entangled in passing someone's guard and scoring, not just making them turn away, is something that's very underrated. I think is one of the most difficult things to do in grappling is pass someone's guard. And he was smart because he didn't want to go into arguably the best guard in jiu-jitsu. So he pulls guard and he ties Marigali up, 50-50 tie-ups, going for footlocks. He's able to sweep him, and he gets swept back, but he ends up scrambling, coming back to his feet. The kid is a dog. that is already an early match of the year contender and arguably strategy of the year. I'm really impressed by Victor Hugo. Before he even became a black belt, he was beating black belts. He beat DJ before. DJ's world class. I'm really impressed. But I think the highlight of the night, the biggest story, was Roberto Jimenez in his black belt debut beating Kaynan Cornelius.
Dang.
New black belt. The guy, I saw him. I've been in the same room with him backstage at the Spider Invitational, the first one, and to see his growth as a martial artist within the year has just been impressive. He's the type of guy that's always willing to scrap. He's always in a fight. He's always attacking for submissions. He's good on top and on bottom. Actually, his takedowns are pretty great too. He's a pupil of Lucas Laprise, so you know he's on point. And he beat one of the biggest names in jiu-jitsu in his black belt debut. He did another smart thing. I was talking to people in his camp before the match, and I was telling them that his best route to win is to pull guard. I hope that everyone that is a competitor takes note of these two matches and thinks about strategy. You got to think. Guys that are good at guard nowadays, they don't just sweep you. They will hold you in a position. And all these guys have to do when they tie you up is tilt you, make it look like they're about to score, almost come up and fall back down. The rules are kind of adjusting for that, but right now you can still teeter-totter and make the top guy look like he's stalling. So smart move by Roberto to pull. It was a good, nice battle. He disentangled Keenan's worm guard a lot, or just straight up neutralized it. A lot of the things that Jamil has been showing me, that guy did. So whoever's over there helping Roberto deserves a lot of credit. His dad deserves a lot of credit because his dad helped him out a lot. I know his lady, she's very good at jiu-jitsu. She's great, and Lucas Laprise got them on point. This kid took the time to strategize, get his technique right, and he trained his body, because being tied up and doing that kind of jiu-jitsu is exhausting.
Yeah.
But he kept his composure and knew exactly where he was at all times. And I think what you highlight for me of the match as far as strategy and knowing where you are on the mat and where you are as far as time in the match was when he pulled guard at the end. He pulled close guard, had Kaynan hemmed up. He had his hidden arm grip. He ran the timeout. I mean, just an excellent performance. Incredible performance by both of these young black belts. You know, they kind of inspired me to keep on pushing hard, because I'm going to end up having to fight one or two of them a few times. We're going to have a lot of battles going down the road. But some other notes and like some things I noticed when newer belts win against newer belts. So here's the thing. New black belts have games and strategies that haven't been exposed to black belts yet. Why? Because black belts are typically studying guys that are most likely to fight or have a unique system. So as a black belt, I'm not going to go and look too much at the brown belts or the up-and-comers, because I don't have to worry about them immediately. I might keep an eye on them. And this should be a lesson to all my other black belts, that you need to pay attention to the guys coming up. But we're not watching them intently because I have to fight Adam Warzinski, who has a great butterfly guard and is very tricky. I have to go against the Kaynan Cornelius that has the worm guard. I have to go against the Canon Duarte, who's juiced to his gills, and it's almost impossible to break his grip without a blowtorch. So we're not watching those matches, but on the contrary, on the other side of the coin, the new black belts, they're watching us. They sometimes spent years watching us develop. I remember when Kaynan was on our team, he was kind of the scout team. So he watched a lot of Leandro Lowe, and he idolized Lowe, and he knew Lowe's game. So the first time they fought, he beat them. I think a lot of it is like he's like inspired, or he's starstruck by Lowe, so he hasn't had as good of a record lately with him. But these kids are coming up watching them, and I know for a fact Roberto was watching Kaynan. Just how he was so prepared for the grip exchanges. He was always in position. He studied him, and a lot of people, I kind of thought it was a gimme match. It wasn't fair to put Roberto in that spot, and I'm pretty sure that the guys at Legion thought so too. And it's easy to overlook the young up-and-comers. And I think that was all contributed to these upsets. I mean, Victor Hugo, it was an ultra heavy. Size definitely played a factor, but look at who was in his corner. Saulo Ribeiro, one of the greatest grapplers of all time. A guy that I talk to every once in a while. Like, he approaches me, drops knowledge, and drops gems. People kind of ignore Saulo sometimes because his delivery. Like, Saulo's a wild dude. Like, if you know Saulo, he's very eccentric. He's kind of shadowy figure, but he's always observing, you know, because he's a very wise dude. So he approaches you. He's kind of like a Yoda type. So Yoda will come up and he'll tell you some shit, and you're like, I kind of don't understand what you said. It was kind of, what is the word I'm looking for? It's very subjective what he says. It's like kind of talks in a riddle, but then in between that, he'll give you some gems, and you got to sit back and think. But when you sit back and think as a grappler, as a jiu-jitsu fighter, you're like, oh shit, it makes sense. Oh, I'm not going to tell you guys the gems because, you know, I'm not going to give away my secrets that I learned from Saulo, but the amount of knowledge as an athlete, as a martial artist, just raw jiu-jitsu understanding. That man was in Victor Hugo's corner, so he got the strategy, he's got the techniques, and the kid is already a natural physical specimen. Another reason why I see that upset, why that upset happened. So that was a great event. Other side notes, May, my dude from Gigos, my teammate, he's coming up to train with Team Lloyd Irvin for the Pans and Worlds. May, he had a barn burner of a match. He was in a full-blown fucking triangle for the first minute and a half. He gets out. I don't know how the hell he gets out. I wish there was a better camera angle so I could see what adjustments he was making so I could steal from him. He shrugs it off. This man's in a full-blown triangle and starts grinning, and then commences to almost take the guy's back and finish him, dominate the rest of the match. The guy's a beast, man. I'm really impressed by him. I wish that he would give a little bit more. He's one of these guys that's super talented and doesn't have to work super hard. God gifted him the ability to do jiu-jitsu. I think some people are just naturally born to do things. Like LeBron James was born to do basketball. I think May was born to do jiu-jitsu. If he just hones in these skills and goes hard for the next 2 years, he's going to be the best pound for pound in the world if he wants to be. Man, and my dude Flash, Rico Staten, he showed he's the fastest man in jiu-jitsu, one of the most innovative. He won his match too. Shout out to both of these young up-and-comers. They're little guys, but I promise you, if you come to Team Lloyd Irvin, you come to Camp Springs, you roll with May, or if you roll with Rico, even my big guys, if you don't use a whole bunch of strength and power, and even if you do, they will end up on your back, and you will have to fight for your life. And one last thing about who's number one, where the fuck is my invite, bro? Where's my invite? They got my brother Muhammad on commentary, but where's mine? Where am I at? I'll fight anybody, anytime, anywhere, any place. You know, fuck the rankings. I want all the smoke. Who's number one? I'm number one, but I'm number one with the smoke, too. Did you watch the UFC?
Yeah.
All right, tell me about it. Because I didn't watch. I was busy watching Flow because I like saving money. I like spending money on things that I like. And I don't like spending money on not only ESPN Plus, but paying for a pay-per-view with one fight. So tell me your thoughts.
Well, it was on with the whole. Let's see. Let me see. I got to call forth the memories first. But the John Jones fight, Dominic Reyes, I definitely had him up.
Why? I have yet to see this fight. I just want to hear why.
Oh, okay. He just came out. He came out nice and angry. John Jones was fighting him just like you think he should be. He was cutting angles, so the oblique kick that John Jones always does to people's knees, he wasn't able to get those off as much, that's a huge part of John's game. So he really just brought the fight to him, and John Jones takes a while to read somebody, so it's difficult for him to read. But the fourth round gets there, and Dominic he backs off. He's under the assumption that he's going to win. Then the fifth round, John Jones really turned it up, and it was just like, dude, you can't just give up the end of the fight. So, but some of the scorecards were just terrible. One of them had 4 rounds for John Jones, which is just preposterous. But it was a good fight. Dominic Reyes, I think, won according to the rules. But if there was 6, 7 rounds, you could see that John Jones Dominic Reyes was prepared for UFC rules, where John Jones,
Pride rules.
yeah, like
Especially with them supplements he's taking. Pride rules.
yeah, no doubt. Well, John's, you can see when he's fighting, he's incredible at not using a lot of energy. He doesn't, and none of his strikes are like winged out there. He's just trying to connect.
That is an art in of itself. That is the essence of striking.
And then Shevchenko versus Chukagian. Man, Shevchenko is just, she may be the most technical person in MMA fighter that there is. It's
in striking?
crazy. Just in everything, like technical MMA fighter. She just stands there right in front of her opponent, and you could tell she's just razor focused. Like she's just ready for something to happen. And as soon as the opponent moves, boom, she attacks and hits.
She's like a Street Fighter character.
Yeah, it's amazing. She's great on the ground. I mean, she cut Kaynan open and put her in this wicked crucifix, and just it was just she's a whole nother level of fighter, whole nother level. I want to see her versus Nunes again. And what else was notable? Well, I didn't see much of the rest. I was also busy, but I was able to catch the last two.
Bro, I don't think I'm gonna do MMA. If the plans, these are top secret plans. If the plans come together in what I want to do, I might not be doing very much martial arts as much. But if I was in the game like that, I don't think I would do MMA. It's so much danger for so little reward.
Yeah, I think it's a very much a pride sport. Like you do, the people that do it would do it for free.
Yeah, I ain't doing that for
free.
I'll train it. I'll train it for free because I have headgear and it's not a financial necessity for me to do it. Mm-hmm. But the idea of doing it because it's so dangerous, like that don't sound like fun to me.
It's the ultimate.
You call me a bitch
arts
if you
test.
want, but I train martial arts and I've done striking and I've done martial arts most of my life. So I'm not a pussy, but like the idea of doing that for sport is nuts. Because I know a lot of MMA guys that be like, jiu-jitsu for a living, all of that, for a little bit of that. And jiu-jitsu is not as dangerous. I mean, I've almost died doing it, but it's not as dangerous as MMA.
Nah, for sure.
John Jones got, 542 for that fight? I heard. I saw him.
Yeah.
That's it. We're talking about the greatest fighter, according to them, of all time, making that much.
Most title defenses ever, as a matter,
Dog, if that's his base of $500,000, $542,000, that's nothing to sneeze at in the regular world. But this is a specialized skill with dire consequences.
And you're the so-called greatest
of all time. A practice squad guy, a bench warmer in the NFL, will get that.
Right.
We need a fighters union, and we need a grapplers union. But that's another story for another time. So, Tony.
Sir.
I have two more things to add for today. I have an entry for the Jits Tape, the BJJ Goons Jits Tape, where we take a YouTube video that is martial arts related, that we think is cool, or I think is cool, and I put it up there. So let's go over to that. Are you able to do that?
Yeah.
All right. So today's entry is entitled Chan Grim An, South Korean Wonder. He is my favorite judoka to watch right now. Chan Grim An is the reigning lightweight world champion in judo. And what you guys are about to see is just high-level judo technique. He likes to do the same throws I like to do. Like, he likes to do Seiyo, Tayotoshi, big throws, and he's super fast. You might be able to skip a little bit ahead when you get into the action. This guy goes ham. He's had a really close match with Shohei Ono. Just tossing these big boys around. Nice Kouchi.
Make sure I don't get any music strikes.
I mean, just a beautiful Kouchi, Tony. I mean, look at this shit. I love judo.
Yeah, it's very cool.
If I didn't have jiu-jitsu, I'd probably say, fuck it. I'm going to travel down to Texas and train with Nick Del Popolo. And,
well, that's,
it's our old judo coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nyamkar. Go down south with Nyamkar and Nick Del Popolo. I go down there with them and do judo all the time. But try to go to Olympics, even though it's really difficult. Shout out to Nick Del Popolo. If you don't know who Nick Del Popolo is, he is one of the best judo players in all of the country. I think he's the best. And, go to his GoFundMe page, his Patreon. Just show that brother some support. He's the first guy to ever show me judo, officially. And, it's hard out here for these judoka. They're getting fucked over by USA Judo. They're not getting any kind of financial support. These people are representing our country. They're representing us in sport. They're the baddest SOBs that we have. We got to show love to our Olympians. We got to show love to the judo. We got to show love to wrestling. Make sure wrestling stays in the Olympics. But that was my Jits Tape entry for the day. It's
man, it was dope.
He's fucking awesome. And my roll jam of the episode. One of the songs that I would love to roll to, and I lift weights, and I work out to, and I do jiu-jitsu too, is Gambling Shack by Currency and T.Y. All my friends know that Currency is my favorite rapper. If you don't know who Currency is, you just need to listen to him. He drops a mixtape at the same rate as old school Lil Wayne. Actually, this dude drops about this guy drops a tape like every week. So that beat old school New Orleans bounce with some hardcore rhymes. Currency. T.Y. T.Y. is BG's son from Cash Money Millionaires. Make sure you listen to the whole song because the second verse is the best rap verse of the year.
Yeah, we don't want to get no strikes.
No strikes. So that is my roll jam of the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to us. Tony, you want to add anything? Any plugs?
Nah, man, you tore this one up, man. You did it. I'm back here working my producer thing. I hope you guys like the new set that we worked out.
This shit is dope. Look at this.
Yeah,
this is the most expensive wallpaper in all of podcasting.
You can't even see all of it.
Martial arts and wrestling nerddom and video game nerddom in the world. We got the coolest fucking studio, guys. Like, look at this shit.
It's all over here.
Look at this shit. You can't even get some of these toys no more. These are discontinued. These are gonna be in the fucking Smithsonian one day.
Yeah.
All right, so
or
before
the BJJ Goons podcast studio, at least.
Yes. The most prestigious studio, prestigious podcast, and all of grappling. Prestidigitous. And all of MMA, all of combat sports, all of sports, all of podcasting in the history of the entire world. So, make sure you hit me up on Instagram at TimSpriggsBJJ. You can see my beautiful mug. You can see my stories. You can see my memes, my pro wrestling references, because I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. If you don't like it, fuck you. Also, you can hit me up at TimSpriggsBJJ.com. You can book a seminar, a private lesson, or even book me for a super fight because I'm down with the smoke. Like I said, I'm Mr. AKA Fuck Your Rankings. I want all the smoke. Also, if you want to book me, you can email me at bookspriggsbjj@gmail.com. Go to vhtsny.com and use the promo code Mushmaster for 10% off everything in the store. Show your support. All my West Virginia peeps, everyone that's going to be in the West Virginia area, I will be at Sans Ego BJJ in Hurricane, West Virginia this Saturday at noon. It's going to be the High Flying and Trade Ranking Seminar hosted by me, yours truly, Tim Spriggs, a.k.a. the Mushmaster, a.k.a. King of the BJJ Deathmatch, a.k.a. Jits Tape, a.k.a. Blast Double Poppy, a.k.a. Musha T. Peace out, everyone. God bless.
Peace.